Hello, fellow weeps. Welcome to the stream. My name is Vitsinairo, and we are playing Sweetest Monster, not Sweetest. Actually, I didn't know this was a Heavy Hive game. We've played more games from Heavy Hive, and I've always enjoyed them. I got a code for this one, and well, I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy it as well. So let's jump in, take a look, right? Oh, I'm gonna have to read, aren't I? Like, out loud. This is what I mean. I remember when Great Aunt Clarice was still alive. She had a black cat called Belle. Let me just stir my mouth. I heard a weird noise. It felt like it came from back there, but could it have been my nose? Let's hope so. Yes, she had a cat named called Belle. That's on the square. To get the next line. That's so. Hey, Cyan, how are you? This isn't strictly true. Great Aunt Clarice didn't just have one cat over her long life, she had several. Maybe it's because she never had any children. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, and diagnosing somebody after their death seems rather callous to me. Seems rather callous to me. Great Aunt Clarice always loved cats. After the death of Great Uncle Albert, however, she began to dote on them more and more. She would sit them on her lap and talk to them, and she looked at them so intensely you would have thought she was waiting for a reply. It was kind of sad now that I think about it. I didn't find it sad when I was little, though. I thought it was scary. Crazy cat lady Clarice. I never liked going to Great Aunt Clarice. She would sit in her armchair, bent double back, hunched like the spineless bell ringer from Victor Hugo's famous novel, stroking her cats with her withered, ropey hands. I guess she was your archetypal crazy cat lady. Well, there you go, Simon. At her lowest point, she had 6 of the things, shedding hair around the house and dragging dead birds across the welcome mat in the kitchen. Ugh. That's why I do not have cats. Because of the hair. Because I'm allergic. I don't remember much about our cats. I mean, they're just cats. You've seen one cat, you've seen them all, right? But Belle was different. I remember Belle. Yeah, that's definitely a cat. Belle was a black cat, proud and stately, her eyes greener than anything I had ever seen before. She disliked people in general and would hiss and spit. Spit? Whenever unwanted finger strayed too near to her glossy coat. She hissed at me, at Mother, at Father, and she definitely hissed at Great Aunt Clarice. Really, at the owner. Slap it in the face. When she was truly enraged, Belle would even try to scratch us. I can still remember how it felt when Belle's claws raked across the backs of my hands. I can still remember the ugly red welts she caused. She drew blood on more than one occasion. Mother and Father were upset, but Great Aunt Clarice simply tutted and said, "Well, what can you do?" Ah, well. If she's British, a tut is like the worst thing she can do. My parents, as may be expected, were not very happy about this laissez-faire response. As a result, they stopped visiting her for several weeks. They couldn't hold out for long, though. My mother probably felt guilty for storming out of her house like that, even though the welfare of her only son was at stake. But not really. I mean, I'm still alive and kicking, which is more than can be said for Great Aunt Clarice. Belle's violent assaults didn't leave any lasting scars. Not physically, mentally, I'm also doing fine, though I did become a primary school teacher, so you might think otherwise. But those scratches were hardly the worst things Belle did to me. I remember. I was playing with a model airplane. It wasn't anything special, certainly not electronic. All I could do was throw it, like a glorified frisbee, but I enjoyed it all the same. I was running through Great Aunt Clarice's overgrown jungle of a back garden, all uncut grass that reached past the ankles and old, dead apple trees that hadn't given any apples for years and years when I noticed that. Great Aunt Clarice's garden is rather big. Was big, I should say, because the garden doesn't belong to her anymore. It had apple trees, like I said, but it also had a vegetable garden. A disused pen where Great Uncle Albert used to keep chickens and the lake. A rather large lake lined with willow trees, like something from a picture book. Like the lake in the beginning of Alice in Wonderland. Maybe I was channeling Alice myself that day, but I didn't tumble into Wonderland searching for white rabbits. Instead, I, quite foolishly, looking back on it, fell head first into the lake whilst trying to save the life of a black cat. I heard the owl and the loud splash, and I turned my plane forgotten. It landed on the ground and bounced a couple times, but I hardly noticed. I was too busy staring out at the lake, staring at Belle. The old saying states cats have 9 lives, but I wasn't naive enough to believe that, even at the age of 6. Well, you also don't know how many are left. I had already been to Great Uncle Albert's funeral, so I knew that when people died, they stayed on the ground and didn't get back up again. Well, that's people. Does it have to be cats? Belle did not have 9 lives. She only had 1 life, and it was precious. Belle had scratched me only a few months prior, and I didn't particularly like her, but I didn't want her to drown. That was why I decided to rescue her. I meant well, but as it soon transpired, this was an incredibly stupid idea for several reasons. For one thing, I could not swim. For another, Belle could. All cats can. I can't really remember what happened after that. This is where my memory goes foggy. All I have to rely on is hearsay from my parents and reports from doctors. Is that amnesia I smell? They told me I almost drowned. I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel or anything, or if I did, I don't remember it. But there is something I do remember from that ordeal. Splashing helplessly in the icy cold lake in Aunt Clarice's garden. I remember watching slowly drowning as Belle pulled herself out of the lake right before my eyes, rendering my rescue attempt null and void. Now I'm just guessing, but I imagine the last thought I had right before I swallowed a mouthful of fetid water and lost consciousness was, "You really are an idiot." would be fuck that cat. More than 30 years later, I don't think I've changed all that much. Just ask my wife, Sally. A wife? Thought this was a meet cute. Sally doesn't like Arabella Waite, and I can't say I blame her. I don't think I like Arabella Waite all that much either. That being the case, it's strange Sally seems to be laboring under the entirely misguided apprehension that I might be having an affair with her. What? This happened to Cyan last night. Accused of having an affair. That's what you get. You don't behave. Why are you always so kind to that awful woman, Robin? I can't stand her. David, how did you know that? I'm the one who told your wife about the affair. So sorry. You deserve to know. The two of us are sitting together in the living room, the curtains drawn, the TV buzzing in the background like a particularly lackadaisical swarm of bees. I don't know that word. You know they say snitches get stitches? I've activated the agents. You should be getting a knock on the door in the next 10 minutes. Uh-oh. Speaking of agents, I have a question. Have you played Hitman? I'm not sure what we're supposed to be watching because I haven't been paying any attention. I think it's some kind of crime drama that would explain the stiff, lifeless corpse of a teenage girl sprawled across the TV screen, her hair wringing wet. The new ones, yeah. Crime dramas have a strange fixation with dead girls, particularly drowned dead girls. Maybe they think it's edgy, maybe they think it's sexy. The pre-Raphaelites sure seem to think so, given their unhealthy obsession with porophilia. It is sexy, I'm sorry. Wouldn't call it edgy, but it's fashionable. Can't really comment on the sexiness or otherwise of this dead girl. She reminds me too much of Millie. Ah, they're good, but not great games. Really? That's a rather tame opinion. Requires a lot of trial and error. What I wanted to ask is World of Assassination just the 3 other games together? Yes. Because I know the other ones were taken down. I know you can't stand our sale, but our money is worth just as much as anybody else's. Every little counts and all that. Don't regurgitate advertising jingles at me, Robin. Even if they're catchy? Even so. I don't think Sally's watching the TV either. She's glaring at the wall, squeezing the cushion so tightly it would scream if it could. Why did she have to come and pick Annette up so early? She knows her piano lessons don't finish until 6:30. Maybe she's lonely. So she decides to invade our home and invite herself in for coffee? Well, I guess I was the one who invited her in for the coffee, but I didn't really have a choice. You could have told her to leave. I couldn't, Sal, not when she'd go all this way. I felt bad. So you'd feel bad about inconveniencing Arabella sodding weight, but you don't have any sympathy for me? I had to listen to her banging on about her divorce for half an hour. I felt like I was going to go mad. Ouch. I'm sorry about that, Sally Pally. I tried to give Sally a sympathetic look, but I'm not sure how much of an effect it's having. Sally isn't even looking at me. She's too busy seething. If you really were sorry, you wouldn't have dumped her on me like that. I'm a translator, not a professional entertainer. I know, I'm sorry about that, Sal. I really am. I didn't know what to do. I could hardly cut Annette's piano lesson short because her mother turned up too early. I bet she did it on purpose. It's because you're always so nice to her, Robin. You're too soft. I don't like the way Sally says nice. It sounds accusatory, like she's trying to frame me for a crime I haven't committed. It is true that Arabella White is fairly attractive as far as single mothers go. What? Is that a different scale? But she's also, inarguably, Arabella White. Do we have a we have a different scale on which we rate attractiveness for single mothers in this game? You're really in it this time, Cyan. Arabella White's daughter, Annette, is a student at the school I work at. She's been having piano lessons with me for 2 years. My relationship with the charming Madam White, however, is strictly one of business. I hardly ever talk to her. Well, Arabella White tries to talk to me. I go along with it because it's more polite than ignoring her, as Sally would prefer, but I don't try to encourage conversation. Why would I? If I'm being brutally honest, I think Arabella White is something of a snob, and she's boring with it. I don't know why she gave her daughter such a fancy French name. Arabella White doesn't have a single French bone in her body. Though Arabella White's getting divorced, she's been in the process of getting divorced for more than 7 months now, I feel sorrier for Annette than for her. I think Annette's the kind of 9-year-old girl who's been forced to grow up far, far too quickly. She's less of a daughter to her mother than a constant live-in counselor. No wonder she's always so quiet during her piano lessons. I have to be nice to her, Sal. She's a paying customer, and she's going through a tough time. I know she's going through a tough time. I know all about that, Robin, because she told me. In detail. She told me more than I would like to know. Well, Sally sniffs. If the way she looks at you is anything to go by, I have no doubts as to why her last husband packed his bags. You're being a tad judgmental, don't you think? Not being judgmental, I'm just saying it like it is. She's always been far too friendly with you. Perhaps, but it's not like I return her feelings, whatever they might be. I just want to help Annette pass her grade 4 piano exam. And that's why you went out for coffee with Arabella last week, is it? Because you wanted to help Annette? I sigh heavily. So we're back to this again, are we? I thought we'd exhausted this topic last night. We certainly went over it enough times. I hate the women at that ridiculous Keep Fit club Sally goes to. I swear they don't even try to lose weight. From what I've gathered, they meet up every Monday solely so they can gossip. Mrs. Harris is the worst. I knew I was in hot water the moment I saw her enter Costa last Saturday trying to console a crying Arabella White over my cappuccino. I already told you, Sal, I didn't want to go for a coffee with her. We just bumped into each other, and she suggested it, that's all. You didn't need to agree with her. No, I didn't, but I think she needs somebody to talk to. The divorce must be pretty hard. She started crying, Sal. And I guess she needed a strong, handsome, already married, let-me-have knight to sweep her off her feet. Come off it. What was I supposed to do? My heart is made of steel. Thank you so much, Melty. I will use it to buy nothing. How are you doing? What about me, Robin? How do you think that made me feel? Can Robin be a guy name? I wasn't thinking about you at the time, to be honest. I was more concerned about Arabella's weight smearing her mascara, which definitely was not waterproof, no matter what she said, down the front of my shirt. Yeah, I only see it for girls. Robin is the name of the insert character, one of the Fire Emblem. The customization. So it can be ambiguous. Okay. Fair enough. I don't know any guy named Robin. Yeah, me neither. But I can think of some girls named Robin, sure. I doubt it. Isn't Rob also not a real name? Are people actually named Rob? Probably. I find it kind of funny when people are named the diminutive instead of the actual name. You're telling me you gave her a hug too? Shit, I didn't mean to let that one slip. Such a smooth stalker. Well, I think she might have hugged me first. It wasn't a hug, not really. She was just trying to hide her face. Like I said, she was crying so much her makeup had started to run. Being hugged by her was like being embraced by a depressed clown. It was an interesting experience, but not one I'm keen to relive anytime soon. Jesus Christ, I can't believe it. First, you invite her out for a coffee, and now you're telling me you've been letting her cry into your chest out in public? Why did she need to emphasize the out in public part? Isn't that better than embracing her in private? I don't understand women. Look, Sal, I know it sounds kind of bad, but it really wasn't like that. I'm not interested in her. Really, I'm not, even if she does wear all those low-cut shirts. Yeah, you should share that thought. That isn't the part that upsets me the most, though, Robin. That's not the real issue here. Damn, Sally sounds mad enough as it is, and this isn't the real issue? I dread to think what that might be. I'm disappointed in you. You said you were going to go out with me and Melly last Saturday. You promised. Ah, of course, Melly. I knew I was forgetting something. It's a good thing that something is only my daughter. Look, I know what I said. I really did mean it. I just got distracted, that's all. Too busy trying to console poor Arabella, were we? That isn't it, Sally. I just didn't know what to do. It wasn't only last week either. You've been promising Melly you'll have a day out with her for almost a month, and you still haven't. Do I not have a phone? Just what is so pressing that you can't put one measly day aside for your daughter? I know it's shoddy behavior. I really am sorry. I've just been busy. Busy? How busy can you be? You're a music teacher in a primary school. It's hardly rocket science. It's not science at all. It's not even a proper subject. Oof. Oh, now Sally's done it. I love her and all. I kinda have to since she's my wife. I'm tired of hearing this shit about my job day in, day out. Even Arabella bleeding weight got on my case about it last Saturday in Costa, in between all her tears. Oh, I envy you, Robin, working at a primary school and doing music too. It must be so relaxing, making a living out of something you're passionate about. Toiling away in an office all these years has really started to grind me down. I guess you wouldn't know anything about that, would you? Yeah, right, because trying to stop a class of 5-year-olds hitting each other over the heads with their recorders is so much fun. I'm living the dream here, folks. Yeah, I think this is a game about Cyan. He's clearly a music teacher in a primary school who cheats on his wife. For your information, Sally, music is a proper subject, and my job is a proper job. It's more proper than yours. At least I actually leave the house. Sally stares at me, her face a pale death mask. Well, I think it's divorce soon. What was that, Robin? What did you just say? I know I've gone too far, but I can't back down now. It's already too late. In for a penny, in for a pound. Said my job is more proper than yours, and like you, I can't sit on my backside all day with the TV on in the background. How dare you say that to me? Just because I work from home, it doesn't mean that my job is any less real than yours. Besides, music is nothing more than a hobby. It's not important, not in the grand scheme of things. Music is necessary, no matter what you say. Being able to play an instrument is an important life skill. And that's why you stopped trying to teach Melly, is it? Because it's just an important life skill? I stopped for Melly's sake. She hated it. I just don't think the piano is for her. And I have other students to teach, so... So you'll teach them, but not Melly, not our daughter. I wonder why. I'm sure money has nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Sally. Don't you Sally me, you're in the wrong and you know it. That's why you've gone quiet. It's because you know you've done something you should feel guilty about. This really is something Cyan would do. Sally looks at me with undisguised disgust. She might as well be examining a cockroach. I feel just as welcome. I'm going to sleep. Don't even think about coming into the bedroom tonight. I don't want to see your face. Well, close your eyes. My bedroom? What's with that possessive? I did pay for half the house. Nice selective memory there, Sal. With that, Sally storms up the stairs, her messy bun bouncing. I watch as she ascends, slamming one foot after the other with more force than necessary. I can't see her face, but her posture makes her feelings more than evident. Don't follow me. If you do, you're dead. I sigh, rubbing the back of my neck with one hand. Don't worry about that, Sal. I wasn't planning on it. I might have almost drowned when I was a kid, but I'm not suicidal. There's a river a short walk away from my house. Oh, sorry, not my house. Mine and Sally's. It would be a little hypocritical of me to call Sally out for laying single-handed claim to our bedroom, and then do the same thing about our home, wouldn't it? Let me try that again. There's a river a short walk away from our house, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. The river isn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. Hardly something to wax poetic over. Even the greatest of romantics would struggle to say something nice about it. The river is dark brown, choked with mud and dirt, and people use it as a kind of communal dustbin, ignoring the real bins that exist for that very purpose. Wow, classy. It's usually filled with broken beer bottles, carrier bags from the nearby supermarket, fast food containers. It's not a pleasant sight. What the fuck? What year is this set in? Once I saw a sofa soaking in there, unmoved by the torrents of muddy water that rushed at it. It isn't rare to see shopping trolleys basking in those murky depths, shallows more like, their motionless wheels aloft in the air. I don't envy the guys who have to dredge all that shit back out of that river. It must be a rotten job, far worse than mine. Most people, my wife included, look vaguely amused when I tell them I teach music in a primary school. So you play around with tambourines and castanets all day, but at least being a teacher is a respectable job. Semi-respectable. It's proper. Not like lake dredgers or whatever their official name is. Do they even have an official name? At any rate, though this river is only a picturesque point of local interest, more like an eyesore, everybody says, I still like it. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the sound of the rushing water. It's strange that I like this river so much, since I almost drowned in my youth. But that's never really bothered me. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So as I always do when I'm feeling unsettled, which has been more and more frequently as of late, I find myself standing on that bridge overlooking the surface of the river. It's a dark night, and the water doesn't look brown, as it usually does. It's black like ink, the skeleton of a shopping trolley sticking out of its muddy banks. There would be a shopping trolley. There always is. I suppose it's comforting in a way. Some things never change. Not like my relationship with Sally. That's changed a hell of a lot. It happened so gradually, too. I didn't even realize how much it had deteriorated until what? I don't want to say until it was too late, because that sounds horribly maudlin. But I sigh, resting my hands against the wrought iron railings. The iron is cold, chilled by the biting wind, and my fingers spasm. If I stay here too long, I'm going to catch cold. I know that, but I can't bring myself to move. I continue to stand there, frozen, staring into the river. The water parts when it hits the shopping trolley, swirling about in circles. Then I just feel a spot of moisture on my head. Definitely sounds like me. It is. It's uncanny how much this sounds like your story, Saya. The rain starts to fall from the sky in a fine mist, light and ephemeral. Well, not that ephemeral, I'm still getting wet. I should go. I've dallied here long enough, lost in my self-indulgent thoughts. Sally might be getting worried. Then again, maybe not. I wonder. If I slipped and fell over the guardrail, would Sally mind? Would Millie? Maybe Arabella Wake would, but I don't care what she thinks. Sally's right. I haven't been spending enough time with Millie. I only ever see her at dinner when we sit together at the table, lost inside our own respective silences. Happy families. She doesn't talk to me, doesn't even look at me. I'm not sure why I call her Melody. It's a big name to live up to, with a lot of unspoken hopes and dreams mixed in. That was my first mistake. I turned, ready to make my weary way back home, when... Guess who? Huh? My vision is suddenly obscured by a darkness even darker than that of the night sky. Breath glides across my ear and laughter, obviously female, dances about me. There's something pressed against my back, hands held over my eyes. You're doing that childish game you see kids participate in the playground. Never thought I'd be on the receiving end of such a gesture. Who is it? How many young girls do I even know? Maybe it's one of my students. Mrs. Cartwright's Enid, perhaps? But Enid would never do something like this. She's far too shy. Not as shy as Millie, but shy enough. Also, I'm standing up. What about my other students then? Laura, Jessica, Cornelia? No again. Laura's quite a chatterbox, but she'd never be this informal with me. Jessica spends most of her piano lessons staring up at the ceiling. Cornelia's family is from Poland, and though she's fluent in English, she has quite a strong accent. It isn't those girls. Why would it be? I'm not that close to any of my students. Who else could it be then? I think you got the wrong person. Can you let go of me, please? I expect a sudden intake of breath, a frantic step backwards, a wide-eyed apology, but it never comes. The girl only giggles. Her hands remain stubbornly in place, unmoved. Oh no, I definitely don't. I know it's you. I'd know it was you, even if my eyes were pecked out by crows. Crows? We really do know each other. Could you at least let me see your face so I can confirm it? That's no fun. I wanted you to guess. I've always been bad at guessing games. Sit yourself. But that's so boring. The girl steps back, drawing her hands away from my eyes. I turn, the wind and rain stinging my cheeks, and frown. I don't know what I'm expecting. For some reason my heart is beating just a little louder than usual. Adrenaline? It isn't every day you encounter a mysterious young girl on a bridge in the dark. The situation sounds like something from a novel. What kind of novel I haven't decided yet. I'll make my mind up when I see her face. A horror novel. She's a serial killer. If she has long black hair and pale skin, it's probably a horror story. If she has blonde hair and blue eyes, maybe a romance. But as it turns out, the mystery girl is a mixture of both. She's short, far shorter than me. Well, I knew that already since I could feel her breath against the base of my neck when she held her hands against my eyes. I still don't know who she is. At least I don't think I do. There's something vaguely familiar about her face. The shape of her nose, the arc of her eyebrows. But these points are nebulous, difficult to pin down with any kind of clarity. This is how, this is the girl Cyan is going to cheat on his wife with. God damn it, Cyan. Her hair is dark, cut into a neat bob. Her eyes are bright green, and a small, mischievous smile plays across her face, like a cat that's just caught a mouse. Would that make me the mouse? For some inexplicable reason, I feel a chill go down my spine, and not because of the cold. There's something odd about this girl, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Something uncannily familiar, but disconcertingly alien. I don't know her. I'm sure I don't know her. If I'd met somebody with bright green eyes like that, flickering like halogen lamps, I think I would remember. She's a succubus? Calling it now? Well, I know what she is, so I'm not gonna say. I think she's exactly the thing you're looking for. Let's say that. Rural people don't have eyes like that. I'm sorry, but I really don't think we've met before. This must be some kind of mistake. I already said it isn't. I'd know you anywhere, Robin Hawkins. So she knows my name. That's Cyan's real name, but how does she know my name? She doesn't answer my question. She can't. I forgot to say it out loud. She takes one step forward and peers up at me. Her eyes are large, all-encompassing, like twin gas planets. My head starts to pound. I feel dizzy. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you for such a long time. I want to tell you something. Something really important. I think I'm in love with you. So saying, the girl stands on her tips of her toes and presses a soft kiss against my cheek. Her movements are so gentle and tender I could almost kid myself into believing we're estranged lovers reunited on this bridge for the first time in 15 years. But that can't be. I don't know how old this girl is, but there's a good chance she might not even be 15 yet. As for myself, I've been married to Sally for longer than that. thought of Sally is enough to pull me back to my senses, more effective than a slap across the face. I'm sorry, but... I take hold of the girl's shoulders, frighteningly bony, and push her away. She doesn't look surprised by my manhandling. Woman-handling? Teenage-handling? Help me out of here. Instead, she stares at me, eyes unblinking. To be honest, it's kind of unnerving. Can't deny that I'm flattered by the attention. What middle-aged man wouldn't be? But at the same time, I'm confused, anxious, and more than a little disturbed. What on earth was that all about? Why... Just who are you, anyway? Don't you remember? I thought that might jog your memory. Not that we've ever kissed before. That would have been weird. I really don't know. One of my old students? Do you usually let your students kiss you? Of course not. Good, I'm so happy I'm the only one. I can get awfully jealous, you know. But that doesn't help me out. I still don't know why. Alright, fine. I see we're not going to get anywhere without a bit of a push. She smiles, her eyes sparkling like precious jewels. First hydrogen planets, now jewels. This girl's eyes are an ever-changing mystery, source of so many possible smiles. They've almost taken on mythic properties. It's inevitable. I've never seen a person with eyes like these before. In that case, there's just no way. How can that be possible? But it is. I step backwards. My back collides against the wrought iron railings and cold seeps through my jacket onto my skin. The girl stands in front of me, smiling coyly as though she hasn't done something shocking. There we go. There, growing right out of her scalp are a pair of ears, a set of twitching black ears lined with white fur that tremble in the cold. Just like Cyan wished. Cat's ears. Cat's eyes. A cat's tail too, peeking out beneath the hem of her dress. This must be a dream. This has to be a dream. The sudden kiss should have been a giveaway, but the scene playing out before my eyes has transcended the border of possible but improbable and right into the congratulations, you've got insane territory. Congratulations, Cyan. Sure you'll be happy together. You're such a weeb. Maybe I've been outside longer than I thought. It must be in the cold. I'm seeing things. What other explanation is there? This can't be real. There's just no way. Do you know who I am now? Slowly, stupidly, I open my mouth and say the first thing that comes into my head. Belle? The girl's face lights up, wreathed with smiles. That's right, I'm Belle, your great aunt Clarice's cat. Of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? It makes a lot of sense. It's Belle. She's come back to thank me for trying to save her, though she didn't need saving to begin with. That's just how the world works. Those who do good deeds will get rewarded eventually. I think there's something about it in the Bible. You're gonna fuck the cat, aren't you? Well, not me. Cyan. I don't know if there's anything about cat girls in there, though. Granted, I never paid much attention in RE at school, so I can't be sure. I'm no priest. RE? Religious education? Falling into that river during my formative years must have scarred me more than I thought. And yet, despite my belief that this must be some kind of near-death-induced dream, the girl, or Belle, should I say, doesn't disappear, doesn't even flicker. She remains stubbornly solid, leaning her elbows against the iron railings as she stares out at the starry sky. Why is your great aunt cat back? Why is she a cat girl? Who thought of this? I don't know. Wasn't this rescue like when I was 5 and I'm 30 now? Cats don't usually live that long, do they? Cats get to 25 years old at least? If it weren't for the ears and tails, she would look like any ordinary girl. An ordinary girl who kisses a middle-aged man in the middle of the night. Well, I suppose that isn't so unusual. Not really. Lots of girls do things like that. Some even make livings out of it. Oh. This isn't the same. I know it's not the same. I'm not really a cat, you see. I can tell that much. Literally the longest a cat has lived is 28 years. Well, maybe she's on her deathbed and just wants to kiss me before she dies. I mean, kiss Cyan. Maybe you can now, but you were totally taken in before, right? You, your great aunt Clarice, your parents, and everyone, really. It was a very convincing disguise, the best Halloween costume I've ever seen. Thanks. I managed to fool all you humans, but the other cats were less convinced. They must have known, on some instinctive level, that I wasn't one of their own. That's probably why they didn't like me, didn't want to come near me. That's true enough. Great Aunt Clarice's other cats, Smokey, Mittens, Snowdrop, Jasper, and Eric, never went near Belle. I always thought it was just a cat. My body was that of a cat, but I was more than that. I've always been more. You said all you humans. Does that mean you're not human? How perceptive of you. She grins. And how many humans do you know that can disguise themselves as a black cat for years upon years? Maybe not a black one specifically? You're funny. You're so freaked out right now, but you're trying hard to make jokes. I like it. Christ. I run a hand through my hair. It's damp and it clumps together in the spikes. Water trickles down my forehead. This is ridiculous. How can a cat also be a girl? I don't understand. It's probably easiest to think of me as neither. I'm not a cat or a girl. Then what are you? Words begin to flit through my mind. None of them are particularly flattering. A yokai? A squamous, eldritch abomination? I'm actually, how can I phrase this? I suppose I would say spirit, but you humans might say other harsher things like demon, devil, maybe monster. Monster? Not too far from abomination then. At least she didn't say elder god. I wasn't taking on the form of a cat out of necessity for a while. I didn't really want to, but I had no choice. I was taken. I was too weak to assume a human form at the time, so I had to settle for something smaller. What do you mean you are too weak? I can't explain it right now. It's a long and boring story, and you probably wouldn't understand. Probably not. I can't even understand the made-up sci-fi jargon in Doctor Who, so how would I ever be able to wrap my head around something like this? I mean, it's probably simpler than Doctor Who. Do you remember when I fell into that lake in Clarice's garden? I wasn't paying attention, really, lost in my own world. When you're a cat and you can't communicate with anyone, daydreaming is all you can do to pass the time. Of course I remember. I almost died. Hey, I suppose you have a point. You humans only have one life after all. I think you two spirits, or whatever it is you are, have more. She taps a finger against her nose, teasing that teasing smile flitting about her face. Let me blow my nose. Now, that would be telling. A woman has to have some secrets. Can you not be human, but be a woman? I don't think that's how it works. I thought you said you weren't a girl. I'm not. There's a big difference between a girl and a woman. Alright, fine, I won't cry, but I still can't wrap my head around all this. Good boy. I don't appreciate that condescending tone. I am 42. Oh, I'm not 30, I'm 42. So she's definitely over 28. And yet, despite your age, you are nothing more than a child compared to me. Just how old is this girl, sorry woman? If we first met when I was 6, she must have a considerable head start over me. Isn't it rude to ask a lady her age, though? I was so happy when you tried to help me back then. I mean, I wasn't in any danger, but the fact a human would risk their life in order to aid me really was touching. It wasn't touching, it was stupid. Don't be too hard on yourself. I appreciated it. People aren't very nice to us spirits, even when we masquerade as something else. Though they can never tell the difference, I think they can sense it. That might be true. My parents were never too struck on the bell. Neither was I. I wonder why, though. What are the general duties of your average run-of-the-mill spirit? Meeting out death? Preparing souls? Heralding the apocalypse? If that's the case, it's no wonder people are suspicious of her. I vowed ever since that day when I had regained enough strength to take on a human form, I would find you and thank you. It became my mission, my reason for living, as it were. I'm flattered, but you don't need to go that far. But I did. At the time, I really did. I needed something to care about, something to strive for. I'd been a cat for so long, I was almost beginning to lose my sense of self. I was starting to forget who I was, and that's very dangerous for a spirit. Beings like me can take on other forms whenever we want, depending on how strong we are, but if we remain in one form too long and forget about our true selves, we'll be stuck. Change to a mouse or something, which is smaller. I was this close. She holds up her thumb and forefinger. The distance between them is minute. Microscopic. I'm forgetting. Condemning myself to live the life of a common house cat for the rest of my life. A life that would have ended far too fast. Cats can't live for nearly as long as spirits can. No, I can't imagine they would be able to. Just what am I talking about? I have no idea what I'm saying. I've never met a spirit before, so I have nothing to compare this girl's words to, and no way of verifying your statements. I'm just saying what I think she wants to hear, trying to make her feel better. Over the course of the last 5 minutes, I've come to realize something. I don't like it when she frowns. I'm glad you tried to save me, Robin. You woke me up from my stupor, shook me by the shoulders. Metaphorically, of course, because cats don't have shoulders, until all the lethargy accumulated over the years fell away. I'd almost begun to forget it was an act. I'd almost forgotten myself. You made me remember. You made me remember who I really am. You didn't save me from drowning, but you saved me in a different way. You saved my identity. You saved not my physical body, but my sense of self. That's why I want to thank you so much. I'd be nothing more than a dead kitty, a stone-cold cat carcass if it weren't for you. I wouldn't be able to talk, to cry, to laugh. I wouldn't even have opposable thumbs. Belle holds up her hands, bending each of her fingers in turn, like a child showing off an art project to parents. So thank you. I can't thank you enough. Thank you from the very bottom of my heart. She looks at me earnestly, her green eyes intense. I shiver. It feels like an invisible, ghostly hand is brushing against every single vertebra of my spine. I look away, flustered by her forthright honesty, and run a hand through my hair. I really am a typical man, fed with feelings, cowed by confessions. Well, you already said thank you, so you didn't need to kiss me. Was that also out of gratitude? Partially, maybe. It's because I realized something crucial. What? Saying thank you wasn't enough, not after you helped me so much. You helped me more than you could ever know. Her eyes flash like faulty street lamps, harsh and intense. I can see streaks of bright green pressed up close against my eyelids when I blink, burnt inside my skull. You almost gave your life to help me. Now I want to return the favor. I eye her suspiciously. And how are you going to do that? I turn, ready to make my weary way back home when I'm getting a bad feeling about this. This dream, nightmare, hallucination, whatever you want to call it, has become too real. I was playing along until now, waiting until I woke up, but it never happened. I don't think I'll ever wake up. The bizarre fantasy is impeded upon my mundane life, sticking to my skin and chilling my bones. He clings to me, one skinny arm threaded through mine, and stares at me with big round eyes. Penetrating. Her breasts are small, much like the rest of her body, but they feel soft pressed against my arm. I don't know if she's noticed, or was that her intention all along. Her bare arms are exposed to the biting wind, the falling rain, but she doesn't shiver. Her body is cold, but it feels yielding at the same time. For all her talk about being a spirit, a demon, a monster, she looks like a young girl to me. She's so short I could rest my chin against the top of her bob, black-headed. She must be round about the same height as Millie, give or take a few inches. I want to be with you all the time. I want to help you as you help me, and give you a shoulder to cry on when things get tough, and a smiling face to congratulate you when things go well. I wouldn't be alive without your sacrifice, so I belong to you now. I'm all yours. What? Well, the wife will love it. What does she mean, all yours? Humans aren't objects any one person can possess, no matter what marriage contracts would have you believe. Though Sally shares my last name on legal documents, she still publishes our translation under our maiden name. We've been married for almost 2 decades, but we do not belong to one another. I couldn't force Sally to obey me even if I tried, which I haven't, because I like to think that I respect her. Still need to blow my nose, I'll be right. Respect doesn't count for all that much when neither of us particularly likes one another. Why did you get married? Belle isn't a human anyway. She's not even a cat. I don't know what she is. Maybe there are different rules in regards to possession when it comes to non-human entities. If there are, I wouldn't know. I've never met a spirit before. You heard me. I want to devote myself to you, my entire being. My each and every eyelash belongs to you, and the dirt beneath my fingernails, and the teeny tiny bones inside my toes. I wouldn't be able to appear before you in this body if you hadn't saved me, so I owe you. I owe you a lot, in more ways than one. Without you, I would not even be alive. The cold wind makes me shiver. I should have worn my coat. Why didn't I wear my coat? I must have been in too much of a hurry. The argument I had with Sally made my blood boil. I needed to escape before I suffocated. The cold air was good for me at first. It cleared my mind. But now I feel uncomfortable. She's standing close. Far too close. She smells of the rain. Her hair sticks to her forehead, and her breasts are still pressed against my arm. It's cold, but I'm starting to feel warm, uncomfortably so. Oh, Belle's green eyes flash like the colored bands trapped inside glass marbles. One more thing, I'm still rather weak. I can maintain a human form, but I can only use it for a short while. Human bodies are difficult to materialize into being, even for a spirit such as myself. You're so intricate, like grandfather clocks. You never think it, but inside here, she taps her chest. I don't think she's telling me to stare at her breasts, what little she has. Rather, she's imploring me to look beyond that, right past her skin, into the inner workings of her alien, unfamiliar body. I'm pretty sure Amy Heatman is a girl, but a lot of emphasis on the breasts, like a guy wrote this game. There's so much stuff going on all the time, so many organs and muscles and so much blood. My whole body is tethered together with cord and wire, run by electrical impulses, neuron firing in the brain. It's very hard to focus on maintaining such a precarious, delicate existence for so long. It's exhausting. If I let my guard down even for a moment, I just disappear into thin air, like a candle being blown out. I've never heard anybody talk about the human body in such an impassioned way. It's strange, since Belle isn't a human herself. Maybe that's why she's so eager. People always get interested in the unknown. Why else do so many people long for the good old days? We always do it, nostalgically harkening back to pasts we did not even enjoy at the time. The grass is always greener. Everything becomes more attractive with distance, even the finer workings of the human body. Perhaps if I was not a human being, I would also find the respiratory system endlessly fascinating. I hate mine. Wasn't being a cat just as difficult? They have lots of little bones too. Being a cat was difficult, but I grew used to it. A few decades will do that to you. Being a human, however, is rather new. It needs some time. Have you not assumed the human form before? Even as I ask the question, I feel myself wince. My left eye twitches. I must sound like such a fool. This isn't the kind of thing I should say. This discourse has no place in civilized conversation. It's the kind of fanciful dialogue that might exist in a young adult novel or a TV show, but in real life, my life? Not a chance. I still ask all the same. Belle responds in turn. She doesn't even blink. Of course I have. How else would I know how to speak? It all comes with practice. Like riding a bike. Yep, once you've done it, you don't forget, but it's been a while. Define a while. I can't. Spirits live longer than humans, so my perception of time is a bit off. But if you had to guess, I don't know, the last time I was a human was maybe 40 years ago. But I've been alive longer than that, longer than you could imagine. Wow, I don't know what to say. Should I turn it into a joke? It might be for the best if I don't want to go insane, presuming I haven't already. I don't know if I feel comfortable about this. I should probably ask my mother for permission before I start chatting to such an old lady. Belle giggles and swats at me playfully, like a cat batting at a bird's carcass. I see she wasn't lying when she said she'd been a cat for so long. I'm surprised she hasn't tried to lick me yet. Or herself. I'd love to stay and chat, but I can feel myself getting faint. I might have to take my leave soon. This won't be the last time you see me. I'll make sure of that. With that cheery exclamation, Belle stands on her tiptoes and plants a small kiss on the tip of my nose. The gesture is unexpected and strangely sweet. I stare at her stupidly. Alright, Robin, I'll see you soon. Much sooner than you think. Hehe. I'm not sure if I should take that as a threat or not, and what's with that hehe? She isn't a cute schoolgirl, no matter how hard she's trying. She isn't even a girl at all. She's a spirit, something vague and unfixed like a breath of air. Do spirits have genders? Did she assume a female form as an act of whimsy? A silly joke? I wonder. I don't have the time to ask. I blink once, twice, and Belle is already vanished, her back melting into the surrounding darkness. I collapse against the railings of the bridge, sapped of strength. The iron bars are cool against my back, but my face feels hot. My nose tingles. I can still feel her lips pressed against it. That soft, girlish kiss. I hold one hand against my nose gingerly, as though it belongs to somebody else. A different man. A better man, perhaps, whose wife still loves him, and whose daughter does not hide in her room every time he comes back home. Why am I thinking about Melly now? About Sally? Maybe it's guilt. It's because deep down inside, though I try to tell myself otherwise, I am happy such a pretty young girl kissed me. Of course I am. Despite the falling rain, her body really was warm. When I return home, chilled from the wind and soggy with rain, I discover that the lights in the house are off. Sally must be asleep. Not sure about Melly. For all I know, she could be curled up in her bedroom, curtains drawn, reading a book, or searching the net with her old laptop. Or maybe she's just sitting there, staring at the ceiling, cursing me silently. I have no idea. I really don't know that much about Melly, do I? How on earth did we become so estranged? We're father and daughter. She's my fresh flesh and blood. But she might as well be a stranger. Wish I could shrug it off with an oh well. Sometimes I can, but it feels far too pressing right now. Far too depressing, more like. I open the front door and step inside, closing it behind me with a soft click. I don't want to wake anybody up. I even tried to stifle the jingling of my keys, though I doubt that small sound would be enough to rouse anyone. I'm just trying to be considerate. Some people would call that overcompensating. I lean more toward cowardice. I don't want to get drawn into another row. I don't turn the lights on. Instead, I grope my way up the stairs in the dark, one hand on the wall, the other on the banister. Sally scolds me when I brush against the wall with my fingertips. She says it will stain the paint. Beige paint. The carpet is beige too. Why did we decide to carpet the stairs beige? It shows every single speck of dirt, no matter how minuscule. And a tight-lipped Sally has to vacuum each and every step, all 18 of them, every other week. Maybe I should feel guilty for not clearing the house more often. But Sally does work from home, and like me, he has more free time. Besides, she was the one who decided on the color scheme. She likes beige so much she can have it, but she's the one who has to deal with it. Damn, I really am cold, aren't I? So much for trying to be courteous. Why did I bother leaving the lights off? I should have flicked them all on, then trampled up the stairs in my shoes, stamping on each step for good measure. I like to think I'm a decent person, but I'm not always sure. I can be pretty selfish at times. At least Belle likes me. That might be a small consolation if I weren't beginning to doubt whether or not she actually exists. Maybe I've gone insane. Is that where Melly got it from? It could run in the family. Great Aunt Clarice was definitely a few cards short of a full deck, given she had all those cats. I let myself into my bedroom. No, not my bedroom, our bedroom, and shrug out of my jacket silently. Sally doesn't stir. I'm not having a lot of fun reading with my nose all clogged up. I can see her lying underneath the covers, curled up on herself, a lump that rises and falls in the dark. She's lying on the left side of the bed, resolutely facing the wall. Does she still not want to see me? Sally looks younger when she's sleeping. Her blonde hair is loose, free from her bun, and falls over her pillow, across her face. Her pajamas are strangely cute for a woman 1 year shy of 40, a demure white nightgown, like something a student at Mallory Towers might wear. All of a sudden, I'm run through with a sharp stabbing sensation. Guilt. I'm sorry for being such a lousy husband, Sally Pally. You deserve better. She doesn't respond. Of course she doesn't. Apologies don't mean all that much when you forget to say them out loud. Alright. I think... I don't know. It's a small game and I wanted to do it all. But... reading with my nose the way it is a bit of a struggle. So... I think... you'll just have to get the teaser for the game. And, if you're interested, you know how to check it out and stuff. Let me change to something else that I don't have to read out loud. I'll take a break and I'll be right back.